It's time to discuss the fighters whose time should be up. Today we're going to discuss all the UFC fighters who should retire for one reason or another. So on that note, let's get into the criteria. First, if a fighter is on the verge of damaging their entire legacy because they're about to go on a Tony Ferguson, Anderson Silva type run in this stage of their career, they need to retire before that can happen. They need to sustain that legacy. They need to sustain that greatness. Okay. Secondly, if you're just washed, you maybe took some time off, maybe you're coming back from an injury, it's just not there anymore. You need to retire. Third, if there's just no fights that people care to see, that don't really get the guys going anymore, get the audience going, guys and girls going, you need to retire. Nobody cares. And then fourth, if you just suffered an like terribly severe injury, um, that not a lot of fighters historically have come back from, you should probably retire and move on to better things. So let's get into the honorable mentions. Dustin Poirier is actually the reason that I thought of this idea with him considering retirement before and after his fight against Islam, and especially after hearing that he sustained about three major injuries and going 5 rounds in an absolute classic with one of the greatest fighters that we've ever seen. Like it might be time. He's accomplished a lot. He has a legacy that's going to be remembered. And the only reason that he should come back to fight is to get a huge payday. But I don't even I don't want to see him versus Volk, right? The only fight that I would want to see him fight against is Conor McGregor, which we'll get into later. And then also Paulo Costa. Costa's 1-4 in his last 5, and he hasn't won since 2021. He's a shell of himself. He has a terrible coach. He's had many injuries in the past. He's took a lot of time off. He's shown that he hasn't cared as much as maybe he should in the past. And I just think he could make a career and get paid the same amount doing something else. So I think he should retire. He got 2 opportunities with his Dana privilege, and he fumbled both of them. So he's gonna have to rework the rankings. Go through the line, fight some up and coming prospects, become a gatekeeper for a while before even we'll be in discussions for a title shot. So let's move on to the number 9 spot. Sorry, Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor was initially going to be an honorable mention, but there have been a lot of rumors, and it's basically confirmed that he is pulling out of this fight with Michael Chandler. And I think it's because he doesn't care anymore. He has absolutely no interest in fighting, because why should he have an interest in fighting? Fighting is a brutal sport. It's a brutal sport. It takes a lot of mental discipline, physical training, blood, sweat, tears. And why would he do that? He could just party in the club, party in the yacht, be Conor McGregor, make tens and hundreds of millions of dollars just being Conor McGregor, and on top of that, his last fight in the octagon, A, he didn't look that great, and then B, he suffered one of the worst injuries in all of sports, and especially in the UFC, that have derailed many careers. So moving on to number 8, we have the one and only Jon Bones Jones. He obviously has no interest in fighting the young guys and defending his belt and being an active champion. Nobody really cares to see the Stipe fight. I care a lot to see the Stipe fight, but that's just because Stipe is a Cleveland guy, So if I wasn't a big Stipe fan, I wouldn't care to see him fight a 43-year-old who hasn't fought since 2020, And I don't care to see you fight Jon Jones. You got your belts. Just let Tom run the heavyweight division, and you can just ride off into the sunset. So number 7, we're gonna have Rafael dos Anjos. Okay, he is a 39-year-old in the lightweight division who just keeps getting fed to these up and coming prospect. It's been his job for the last 4 years, dude. Enough should be enough with RDA. He's a legend in the lightweight division. He's a big name in the lightweight division. A lot of people will remember him. Okay, he's contributed a lot, but he's just continues to get absolutely mauled by these guys, and he's not showing any any signs of progression or ability to continue holding that gatekeeping position. Just pass the torch to Beneil Dariush for biggest gatekeeper in the UFC. Okay. So now we're moving on to number 6. Holly Holm is 42 years old. 42. And she just got mauled by Kayla Harrison. Absolutely thrashed. Absolutely thrashed by Kayla Harrison. Okay. She hasn't won a high quality fight in 4 years. And just why? You were champion. You're a big name. You're one of the women's goats of MMA. Definitely. You're 42. Just enjoy retirement. Get on the broadcast. I could see Holly Holm being a great broadcaster. Okay. So yeah, she needs to retire. Number 5. I mentioned this earlier in the Jon Jones part, but it's Stipe. Dude, you're a heavyweight goat. You're 42 years old. You have nothing left to prove. All you're gonna do by fighting Jon Jones is risking, that heavyweight goat status in the eyes of maybe some younger viewers that didn't experience his insane title run in 2015 to 2020. So you're just risking your legacy, and you're just risking everything for absolutely no reason to fight Jon Jones. It's a big money fight. That's cool, but look at the big picture here. Moving on to number 4, we have Kamaru Usman, man. This one hurts. This one hurts a lot. But he has 3 consecutive L's. He doesn't really have anybody to fight in either division, welterweight or middleweight. He has a GOAT resume that he should focus on sustaining and keeping. Before continuing to get beat up by these young guys. And they've been close fights, They've been really close fights. He was winning so convincingly against Leon Edwards, 4-1 before he got knocked out. In that second fight, that was extremely close. That was a majority decision. And Leon was cheating a lot, And then Khamzat, man, Khamzat, yeah, he 1080'd you first round. But you picked up, in a lot of people's eyes, you picked up the last 2. So Usman can definitely still compete. This isn't a thing about washed, right? I'm just worried about his legacy. Okay. Because if he gets a few more L's, maybe he falls off that 10 spot or 9 spot in the GOAT debate, And adding on to the not many people to fight, the only people that Usman could fight is I don't know, some borderline contenders, some up and coming contenders, but that's not exciting. That's not a legacy fight. That's not a big money fight. That's just a feature fight on a regular main event or main card. So, Usman should probably hang it up. Moving on to number 3, Henry Cejudo, man. The second half of their podcast, bro. Triple C has lost so much aura in his comeback. So much. That Aljo fight, that was good. That was a good performance. That was close. But come on, man. That fight with Merab, that should retire you. Okay? You got absolutely thrashed by, up and coming contender in your division. You got embarrassed. You got picked up and carried around the octagon like your Li Jingliang. And you've fallen out of the top 15 in the GOAT debate because of it, dude. Because you keep ruining your legacy. So let's just stop ruining your legacy. Let's keep the, maybe an argument for GOAT status. He shouldn't have retired when he was on top, but now that he has, his comeback failed, and we should just leave it at a failed comeback. Moving on to number 2, Alexander Volkanovski, man. It's a shock you're not number 1. Okay, Volk, dude, retire, please. Please retire. Don't fight Ilya. Don't fight Ilya. You're just going to make Ilya look like a god, okay? And it's going to hurt your legacy 10 times more than it will help. Like, come on, dude. Volk, let's go. You're 1-3 in the last 4. Yeah. It's to Islam, bro. And Ilya. Insane fighters. But you've taken so much damage. You were extremely active in your career. Everybody loves you. But come on, man. Like, I don't even want to see you get your title shot, bro. I don't want to see it. Your last fight should be against, like, I don't know. Fight Yair Rodriguez again, or Calvin Kattar, dude. Just fight a soft fight. An easy win. Okay? Just have an easy win. Easy fight, retire on top, okay? But don't go fighting these contenders. Don't go moving up to welterweight to fight Michael Chandler, dude. Nobody wants to see that. 0 people want to see that, okay? You're 36 years old. Nobody's won a belt, lightweight or below 30, past 35. I think only a handful of people have won it at welterweight. And your body's ruined, your legacy's going to be ruined. Let's just retire, okay? Which leaves us to the number 1 spot. Tony Ferguson, dude. You're going to get mauled in your next fight. Mauled, bro. Like, what do you keep holding on to? Like, you already have the longest losing streak in UFC history. It is tied. So you are making history by fighting again, to be the unanimous biggest loser in the UFC with 8 consecutive L's. And this should go on with no further explanation. Okay. So that's my list. I think it's pretty valid. All of these guys are legends, and girls are legends. All these fighters are legends. But it's just time. It's time. And it's truly sad to see. But as with everything, time moves on. So see you next time.